friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hello, Levi.
How's it going, Jen?
It's good. Just cleaning up the old glasses here, because they're in need.
We are recording earlier than normal today.
Yeah,
Jen.
We're still drinking coffee.
Yeah, it's great. We were going to make the Final Fantasy XIV cookbook Odin, which is like a stew to overly reduce what it is. A stew with fish balls, fish cakes, seaweed, and other stuff in there. We'll probably post it to the Discord at some point if it looks good. But unfortunately, because it requires like a 3-hour long infusion period, our schedule got fucked up this morning. So we had to shift around the timing. And so now we're recording early and we're Odining late.
Yeah. And he's like, okay. Thanks for sharing.
It's 14 related, Jen.
It is 14 related.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. It's a whole Final Fantasy day over here.
Not really.
It's like a Final Fantasy...
sandwich.
Well, see, that's the thing. When people say it's a Final Fantasy sandwich, I'm not talking about, like, nobody refers to a sandwich because of the bread, right? So it's the filling. So technically the filling would be Gloomhaven.
Fair.
So it's a Gloomhaven sandwich.
With Final Fantasy bread.
Yeah.
Okay. That out of the way, Jen. We are today talking about the patch 2.2 main story quest. We'll be playing through Promises to Keep. But first, what happened last time, Jen?
It's not cool.
You should have known it was coming.
You're right. What the fuck did we even do? Oh, we moved to Revenant's Toll.
We found Philomene.
We didn't do any quests in Revenant's Toll. We all moved there. Minfilia was the last to go. And she gave Oriange her father's journal so he can continue looking up primal stuff. But then Elidibus sneaks in, has a little exchange with Minfilia, knocks her out. We chase him through Western Thanalan and defeat his little minions or whatever. And he's like, I'm an emissary! And we're like, okay, we still kind of want to kill you though. And then he goes back and has an exchange with his Ascian friends. And Minfilia moves to Revenant's Toll. We're officially there. And that's it? That's where we're...
And we found Minfilia's long-lost mother, Jen.
Oh, that's way before. That's way before.
That's in the same MSQ chunk.
Was it really?
Yes, same patch.
Well, same patch.
Because remember,
yes, but not the same
Philomene
episode.
and Alphino team up together to manipulate Minfilia into moving.
Oh yeah, but that was before this episode that I'm talking about, the Elidibus shit. Like, let's recap the entirety of post.
Okay, what happened before then, Jen?
Oh my god! All right.
Okay. Anyway,
so we,
yes. Thank you,
arrive
Jen.
at Gridania in a chocobo cart, and we're a new adventurer. And
perfect. Okay. We're now in a loop. Anyway, Jen, thank you for the great recap.
Yeah, no problem.
We are now in the Rising Stones. Our first quest comes from Minfilia in the Solar 2.0.
Yeah, business as usual. Minfilia's got something for us to do.
Yeah, we barely get out of Western Thanalan. We just left the Waking Sands. No, wait, we go back now.
Yeah.
Time to go back there.
Time to go back. Yeah, I wish I could quit you. So she's received a request from the Amagina and Sons Mineral Concern because their storehouse in Horizon has been repeatedly burgled. And it's been happening for a long time, but they recently did an audit and they're like, oh, that's a problem. So that's problematic, and it's especially problematic because the only thing that has been stolen has been just buttloads of crystals.
Sounds like a primal problem.
Is that happening like a lot? Does it happen like kind of over and over again? Is it recurring?
Yes, Jen, this is a recurring problem of crystal thefts.
This quest, the name of it is Still Waters, which I think is funny when it wraps up. It's funny. Okay, anyway, so Y'shtola and Thancred have already started their investigation, so we're going to join them. Y'shtola says to talk to Fufalupa. He is he a lieutenant with the Brass Blades?
He's a captain now.
Oh,
We met
look at
him
him.
during
Yeah.
our Ul'dah introduction quest line, and he was one of the few non-corrupt brass blades.
Yeah.
So he got promoted because his captain was corrupt.
Yeah. So good for him. And so now he's heading the investigation, and he's going to have more details. So before he can do that, he tells us that a heavily laden cart recently refused to stop for an inspection, blasted through one of their checkpoints. Maybe this is our guy.
In Eastern Thanalan.
Yes. This is, so, in Amalja territory.
Yeah.
And Ishtal is like, well, probably not, because our guys, they've been getting away with this for a really long time. They're better. They're better than that. They're not going to be drawing attention to themselves like this. So, but we'll check it out.
And of course, right now, Thancred comes over and says, hey, I got it.
Yeah.
That cart, guys, I helped take care of it.
Yeah, I just happened to be in the area, and there it was. And
But unfortunately, it was not carrying crystals. It was carrying somnus, an illegal drug.
Cool.
And a lot of it. So now there's no crystal leads. This whole thing is like a bunch of hanging out in town, talking about how we have no leads.
What are we going to do?
Thancred then pings Urianger, seeing if Urianger has any ideas. And he does so. We cut away to Urianger at the Waking Sands. He has news of a different kind for us. There happens to be a young maiden. And now Thancred proceeds to get horned up.
Oh, yeah, so, they're just having a conversation. Urianger is like, yeah, okay. So there's been like a young maiden inquiring about the Waking Sands, and you don't hear what Thancred is saying, but Urianger's response to whatever Thancred just said was like, why would I give a shit if she's hot?
Wherefore inquirest thou of her fairness? Very well. Be she damsel or devil, I shall direct her steps to Revenant's toll. Save thine insinuations for one given to such impropriety. Thou shalt not find me amenable.
There's a young maiden asking about the Waking Sands, and all Thancred can ask is she hot?
Outside at the docks, we see some people getting off a ship. There are a couple hearers and a woman who is covered head to toe in a purple outfit. She has some strange projections coming out of her head at a downward angle. We only see their approximate shape and size, though, through the cloth of her hood. So this is a hardcore outfit, Jen. She has like a mesh fabric over her face. She is fully covered, except that her fucking tail is sticking out.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I didn't even notice that.
You see it all the time.
Holy shit.
There is a light, scaly tail poking out her butt.
You know what?
And
I don't see tail.
later on, oh my god, later on in the quicksand, we can see it curled up on her seat next to her.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So here's the thing. I'm just going to spoil it now because her tail's fucking sticking out.
Sure, yeah.
Back in the day, this was a mystery. This is before Al Ra were a player race.
Exactly.
Now you can start the game. Any new player can start the game as an Al Ra. You see them in character creation. You see a dozen a day at least, probably running around.
Yes.
This model especially, what is it? The light colored?
The Zayla and then the,
yeah.
I'm going to Google it. Rayan.
Yeah, so the Lady Rayan seemed to be an especially popular player choice.
Hello.
Hi, Jen.
Yeah, I really liked the Zayla. I loved the black scales and the horns and shit.
Yeah.
But you cannot mix and match horn style and face style. And I wasn't down with the faces.
Yeah, I said this beforehand, but my first character, he was a Zayla Al-Ra until I got sick of how serious he looked all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this game is not a serious game. There are serious moments, but also there are pure comedy, absurd moments too.
Yes.
And that straight face all the time was getting to me.
Like, that vibe works for that particular storyline when we get to it, and it actually kind of enhances the comedy. But you're so fucking intense all the time,
Yeah.
and you're standing at attention, like their posturing, their facial expressions. It's a mood, and you were like, I'm kind of over it. So you went Lalafell and never looked back.
Correct. Anyway, though, on to this woman, this purple-clad woman. She has the fucking tail sticking out her butt. She has the horn projections out of her face.
Yeah.
We can tell now that she's an Al-Ra, but this was a mystery back in the day.
Right. You're like, oh, okay, those kind of look like Urianger's hood things, but they're bigger and they're weird. And so the insinuation is that this is an Al-Ra.
Yeah.
But she's covered, like, not even her hands are exposed. There's no skin showing whatsoever.
It's so weird because she's covering herself up. She'll tell us this later on. she's covering herself up to avoid alarming the locals about her strange appearance.
Yeah.
But the most strange thing about her is sticking out her fucking butt.
I know. Everything
normal is covered up and the tail is sticking out. So anyone seeing her is going to assume that she looks stranger than she is because of the thing that's visible.
And Alfina, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but, he's trying to make some diplomatic headway for her, and he's like, your appearance is a little unsettling. You might want to deal with it. And she's like, well, given the option, I think it's best that I keep myself covered because I look weird.
What I would have done is I would give her like a big swaddled cloak that hides the whole tail section. So give her some junk in the trunk, pretty much. And people are like, oh, she's wearing really thick robes or something. What's going on there?
Mm-hmm. That is weird. I didn't even notice that. And if I had, I'd been like, oh, her entire busted.
Yeah, exactly. She is busted ASAP.
Yeah. So it's like it's her and two hero companions. And so all the people in Vesper Bay are like gathering around the dock and like, ooh, what's this? Who's this? There's murmuring.
And she walks out the boat and is a complete fucking nerd. Hello, locals. Take me to your leader.
Basically, yeah.
Hello, dock workers.
We come from the land of Doma. We seek an audience with your ruler. Who speaks for you? And then nobody says anything.
This is a Wendy's.
But then she glimpses Urianger. Urianger has come outside and it's like, what's up? Okay, I'm going to probably help you out here right now. So now we go back to the
quick side note. Doma, the place that she is from, this is where Oboro was from in the ninja quest line.
Yes.
So now we're back in Horizon with Fufulupa,
the investigation
Thancred, and Y'shtola.
Yes.
Fufulupa has had an epiphany. He is wondering if the Crystal Thieves are so successful because they are being aided by a brass blade.
Yeah, I know. An issue with which he is very familiar, unfortunately. So, like, theory number 1, traitor. Yeah. It is a solid theory, though. So we kind of fast forward the tape. So this is our working theory now. So the concern will definitely be relocating the rest of their crystals to some other secret spot.
This is not what's happening. This is a very weird sequence because
it's all imaginary. Like, oh, okay. So what if it's all what ifs?
Yeah.
What if the concern decides to relocate all their crystals? Right. Well, what they would do in that case is they would probably have like maybe a single escort so that it looks like just a random merchant and not some like heavily outfitted and guarded caravan carrying all of these crystals and drawing all the attention in the world. Okay, so we've got a single operator carrying all the remaining crystals through Horizon. This single person's probably going to get tired at some point, right? Okay, and if I were to get tired, I would get tired right around here. And then, as an ambusher, as a crystal thief, that's where I would strike. So we go to that hypothetical spot to ambush the ambushers. That's the plan, and we actually do it. Okay,
so here's what's happening, Jen. I had to read this again, and I did not realize what they were talking about until after we got there.
Like, all of this is a what if. Like, how do you know this is happening?
What they're doing is they're being cute about telling Y'shtola to dress up like a miner and to be the bait. So Fufulupa is going to leak to the brass blades that the Amagina and Sons, they are moving the crystals by courier.
I was wondering why she was dressed up as a miner. Yeah, she is so cute as a miner, by the way.
This writing is so opaque.
Yeah,
it's trying to do some.
I was confused.
It's doing some cute. Let's talk about this hypothetical thing, but
we don't have to we don't need plausible deniability
here.
No,
you can just say, "Hey, Y'shtola, fucking dress like a miner and go be our bait," and that's that. We don't have to do this whole weird talk around thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we make a plan where Y'shtola is gonna pretend to be this courier, and she's going to go by way of this bridge that crosses Western Thanalan.
Yep.
And then Fufulupa runs off to go and leak this information to the brass blades. And he comes back being all coy, like, oh, we got new orders now.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking like we're being spied on.
Dude.
Yeah.
We're not in like a brass blades meeting where we have to be. Yes, exactly. It's very strange.
So then we head off to go spy on Y'shtola. We're on the north side of the bridge. Thancred's on the south side. So we go there, we lie in wait. And then, sure enough, the traitor blade tipped off their cohorts.
Yep.
And some robed figures appear to attack us. We fight 2 waves of 2 guys, whatever.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we inspect our victims. And hey, they're sea wolves. They are the Leviathan-tempered Rogadin from Limsa, from La Noscia.
And they know that because they all have the blue facial tattoos.
Yes.
Y'shtola is like, oh shit, I have ideas. I need to go make some inquiries. You guys finish up here. I'm going to bail. After this whole thing, Fufaloopa confirms they found the traitor, caught him, but he escaped. Oops. And Thancred is like, really, you guys? What kind of operation are you running? And he's like, well, he was real big. He was a born and raised Limson Seawolf. What do you expect me to do? But then Thancred gets a call, and he's pulled away. And he's like, our time together has ended. If you could maybe pretend to be a little disappointed.
This is the first time I think that the game
Breaks
gets
the fourth
self-aware about like the Warrior of Light isms.
Yes.
The whole silent-ish protagonist thing. Because Thancred says, you might look a little disappointed that we're parting ways now. Or do you mean to give me another one of your stoic nods? You do, don't you? And then we give our classic Warrior of Light nod.
It's like, God damn it. All right, fine. It's
and now Minfilia pings Thancred. The fucking link pearl's blowing up right now.
Right.
And she says that we are now instructed to meet, our character is instructed to meet Alfino in Vesper Bay for some pressing business.
Well, yeah, so that's going to be the Domans, for sure. And of course, Alfino is like, whoop, an opportunity to be a diplomat? Boom, I am there. We meet Alfino at the docks. Apparently we're late because everybody else has left except for him. So they're headed to meet with the Sultana, and he tells us Doma, located in Othard, is under Garlean control, and he surmises that this small band of Domans left under inauspicious circumstances, and he wants to get all up in their shit because I bet they have some news about what the Empire is doing there.
Right, because what we know so far at this time is that Doma is a conquered imperial province. So they're either spies for the Empire or they're refugees from the Empire. Either way,
some shit is going on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So he's not going to miss this opportunity.
We catch up to the Domans. They've not made it very far. We find them bickering with the guards outside the Chamber of Rule in Ul'dah.
Yeah. Bartholomew in particular. One of the Nelson twins, yeah. She is labeled, we don't have a name yet, but she is called the refugee leader, quote unquote. And she's trying to convince Bartholomew that, he's like, you need to petition for an audience. I can't just let you in. She's like, we don't have any time. You don't know what we have been through. She's rebuffed, and she leaves. But on the way back, Alfino's like, hey, I see you're having a little trouble. He's fucking clippy up in here. He introduces himself, Alfino Levier, at your service. I am a friend. You will need friends here because we don't like foreigners. And asks her to meet him at the quicksand so we can kind of, get the skinny on what's going on here, and maybe he can pull some strings. At the quicksand, we're all sitting around a table. We get her name, Ugiri. And she says they have traveled thousands of malms, seeking refuge in our lands. So when the War of Imperial Succession broke out, and this is news to us, they took that opportunity to take up arms and try to free themselves of Garlean oppression. Because, there's a war of succession within the Garlean Empire. That's the perfect time to take advantage of a weakness, maybe.
Quick aside, what we do know is that the Empire was getting on in years. This was part of the reason why there was such a big push to conquer Eorzea, because he wanted this kind of feather in his cap before he passed on, to add it to his legacy. This is what spurred the renewed Meteor Project and the whole thing in 1.0 where they tried just to wipe out Eorzea with Dalamud.
Great.
But now apparently this old guy has passed on, and now there is struggle over who will succeed him.
And I mean, they're not wrong. That is probably a really good time to do that. But unfortunately, it did not work. The Garleans were not as unstable as they had hoped. They were crushed, and Doma was...
The Domans were crushed.
Yes. And Doma was just razed to the ground. It's done.
As an example to any other would-be rebels.
Correct. So the only Domans that exist anymore is like a couple hundred of them. And
No. This will come up later on. Ugiri's boat, she is with a group of them. That's a couple hundred. There are other escapees as well out elsewhere in the world.
Okay, so a few hundred.
We don't know the number.
Okay, because they keep throwing around 200.
She
200, 200.
Her group that she's leading, that is 200. That is who she is representing.
And she's requesting on the behalf of these 200 people.
This group. There are other escaped vessels that likewise took to the seas. An unknown number of refugees.
Okay.
but we are not concerned about them right now. We are concerned about Yugiri's 200 or so.
Correct. Okay, cool. Alphino tells her, like, just straight up, Ul'dah is not going to step up with refugee assistance because we already have some issues with refugees, and the monetarists are going to need, like, more than suitable encouragement to help you out. And I mean, their situation is dire. Like, supplies are running out. They need medical care. You know, it's like this is a desperate situation. On the opposite side of the same coin, Ul'dah also is not a friend of Garlemald, so we all have that in common at least. And Yugiri's story might stir some hearts. Monetarists don't have them, but we'll see. Alphino, at this point, smugly affirms that he has the ear of certain influential individuals, and he's going to go and speak with the Flame General and see what he can do.
He's loving it.
He is loving this.
I am so great.
He's like, oh yeah, I know
so
some
connected.
people. I'm going to, oh my God, it's insufferable.
In the meantime, though, after Alphino leads to go work the politics, to go do his politicking, Yugiri asks us, hey, our people are in bad shape, we're hungry and sick and so on. So we go talk to Momodi, the proprietor of the Quicksand, and ask her, hey, can we get any supplies for these people? Oh, wait, a wealthy merchant just canceled their banquet, and so Momodi has like a back order of food right now. And he paid in advance, so sucker.
Fuck him, yeah. So, what a boon. She asks us to go tell her assistants that there's been a little bit of a change in plans. We're going to go find...
These are just merchants. They're like her suppliers.
Yeah, so there's the tradecraft merchant and the potwatch that are helping her out with this whole banquet thing.
Yes.
So we need to let them know, like, hey, instead of this, Momodi is going to have you take all of this stuff to the Waking Sands, and we're going to be feeding, you know, these Doman refugees that have showed up.
And these two out themselves as being real shitbags.
Real xenophobes. Yeah.
As they start complaining about feeding refugees.
See, when you start to feed them, they're just going to expect it, and you'll never get rid of them like they're vermin, you know?
After that, we report back just as Alphino returns. He has worked his connections and has an audience with the Sultana and the Syndicate.
And there we go. Oh boy. Alphino was like, tell a good story. It's going to be tough in there. And so here we are in the Fragrant Chamber.
Well, before then, we all convene outside the chamber. We have Ralban, Alphino, Yugiri, her two attendants, and a new person. This is Taleji Adeleji.
Is he out there?
Yes.
He's sitting inside the fucking room.
He is waiting for us outside.
Why? I didn't notice him at all.
Yeah, he is with the pre-gaming crew. He's doing the
he's laying the groundwork.
He's tailgating
okay.
outside with the other folks
there.
Fun. And if you talk to him, he says that he is here to offer support for our cause. He doesn't care where one is from. Birthplace doesn't equate to birthright in his eyes.
Sure.
What a great guy.
I know. It's okay.
Taleji Adeleji is a syndicate member. He is a Lala with a rocking white mustache and goatee. He inherited his wealth from his parents and expanded his fortune through money lending. He would go on to acquire several mercantile holdings, and he opened up a gambling parlor for the wealthy called the Platinum Mirage. Taleji also employs several refugees at the Mirage.
Yes. So yeah, he's the chairman of the Mirage Trust. That's his entire, like, I guess, empire, we could call it.
We are now in the chamber.
We are now in the chamber, and we've got Taleji Adeleji. We got the Sultana, obviously, Ralban, and then some other monetarists whom we are not familiar with.
Lord Lolorito. We have met him beforehand in the Ul'dah starting quest line. Mm-hmm. He was mixed up in, he tried to essentially entrap any would-be people trying to gain political influence. So you might recall the poor refugee we met at Blackbrush Station who was trying to get his foot in the door.
Oh, right. He's he found some silver veins or some shit.
Yeah, but actually it was a trap by Lolorito to take any like would-be aspirants out early.
Yep.
So great first impression with him. Lord Lolorito owns the East Aldernard Trading Company. This company conducts trade far and wide, but also owns tons of subsidiaries within Ul'dah itself, including Sunsilk Tapestries, which is where the Weavers Guild is.
Yeah, so he's the Bezos.
Oh, and obviously East Aldernard Trading Company, East India Trading Company, clear,
sure.
connection point.
Yeah, an absolute monolith.
There's also the Rogadin Fiergeist, who is the chairman of Amagina and Sons. We met him during the minor quest line.
Oh, that's right.
And there are 2 unknown people. One is a Lala wearing a yellow robe and a cone hat with a star pattern on the front, and the other is a completely robed person. We do not see their features at all.
Weird.
I, Yugiri of Doma, am honored to meet you at last, Your Grace. To mark this auspicious occasion, I should like to present to you the finest treasures our humble nation has to offer. Alas, the circumstances which have brought me here today have divested me of both time and dignity. I come before you as a pauper in direst need of aid, to request that you grant my people asylum.
So this is when Yugiri makes her argument, where she asks that people that she's with be allowed to live within the walls of the city, or as many domans as Ul'dah can allow. And in return, they would act as soldiers or tradesmen to repay the debt. And Raban is like, okay, what does the syndicate think? And Teleji Adeleji comes right out and goes like, hell yeah, if they want to work, let them. And while they're discussing, Alphino is kind of like out of the side of his mouth, kind of whispering to us like, ooh, well, Teleji Adeleji, he's got an ulterior motive here. As head of the Mirage Trust, he is clearly looking for cheap free labor. And Raban says, all right, let's put it to a vote. Lolorito now pipes up with, the law is the law. And this is a shitty-ass fucking thing for him to say. We'll find out in a second why.
Tell me, are you blind or willfully ignorant? Even now, our streets are choked with the displaced victims of the Calamity and Alamigan refugees. They live hand to mouth, subsisting on aid provided by the immortal flames, the cost of which grows ever higher. The wealth of Ul'dah is not without limits, my friends.
His argument is that Ul'dah is already overflowing with refugees. They bring violence, they bring crime, they're living hand to mouth, and their desperate situation just means they just are driven to crime. And the wealth of Ul'dah is not without its limits. And the immortal flames and the brass blades are stressed enough. It's just like doom and gloom from this guy. We're swimming in thieves and we're gonna run out of money. So Alphino then has a little bit more background information for us on this one. He's kind of like whispering to us on the side of his mouth. This is the chairman of the East Eldinar Trading Company is rumored to pass Gil thrice daily. Either that or he's just ruthless beyond reckoning. Yeah, that one.
It can be both, Jen.
It sure could.
I don't know if you're keeping it PG, Jen, but Alphino's saying that he shits Gil.
He shits money.
Yep.
The Sultana now speaks her piece and requests that an exception be made. This is in response to Lolorito saying the law is the law. And she's like, well, I think an exception can be made for the few hundred of Yugiri's people. And this Lolorito responds by throwing a previous interaction regarding Alamigan refugees back in the Sultana's face. And he's like, I seem to recall a time when we were presented with hosting the Alamigan refugees. And what was it that you said back then? Oh, yeah. The law is the law. Boom, bitch. Like, just what an asshole.
Before you go on, Jen, I don't have details on this past event that they're referring to. This would be somewhere before A Realm Reborn began. Either it's some 1.0 event I'm not familiar with, or just some kind of inferred event somewhere off the in-game records. But because the Nanamo that we know is, frankly, like a perpetual bleeding heart, I'm guessing this happened back when she was a lot more like the puppet of the Syndicate versus when she started getting her own kind of legs under her and standing up for herself. So I would suppose, just based off of like the timeline, that this past event, she was cajoled into making this statement on behalf of the Syndicate. Yes,
like as a very young and probably new leader, the pressure there to kind of kowtow to the Syndicate would have been immense.
Yeah,
and correct, she didn't have confidence. She hadn't come into her own yet. I didn't feel like she could even like say things. That all checks out. Because it would have been like 15 years previous. It's been a while. It's been long enough that between then and now, that's the Sultana has earned the right to maybe have a different view of things and say, I think an exception can be made.
Yes.
Because maybe she regrets that.
It would have been quite some time ago, I'm guessing, and probably when she was very young. She's young now.
She's still,
so
exactly.
It would be like when she was a pure puppet.
Yeah. So that all makes sense. But so Lolorito, like throwing that back in her face at this point is gross.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, absolutely, but it's gross. And when he says that, Raban is like, you fucking shut your mouth, dude. Anyway, so there's some back and forth now between like Adeleji and Lolorito and like refugees good, refugees bad, blah, blah, blah. And Raban's like, all right, time is of the essence. We're going to vote. If you are for accepting the Doman refugees, stay. If you are opposed, leave.
1/2 of the members leave. So staying, we have Nanamo, Teleji, and Raban. And then Fiergeist, Lolorito, and the 2 mystery people leave. Over half have left, therefore the vote does not pass, and the refugees cannot stay.
As these people are walking out, the 2 Doman escorts that Yugiri has with her are kind of panicking a little bit. They're like, oh fuck, this is like nothing is working out. I mean, you can tell that their situation is so dire. It was kind of hard to watch. They were just like, fuck, what do we do now?
So now that the meeting's over, we kind of have little breakout groups to grouse about how things went. So Nanamo apologizes to Yugiri directly and says, I'm sorry, but my hands are tied, pretty much. The syndicate says no, so I can't help you.
And Yugiri's like, I understand. I mean, thank you for everything you've done. It is what it is.
Meanwhile, Raban tells us, our character, that with the Empire's Eorzea presence defeated, there's no more need for unity amongst the syndicate, and so things are becoming very fractured once more.
Yeah, they don't give fucks, because there's no reason.
Lolorito especially is becoming a problem.
Great.
Teleji also gripes about Lolorito, saying that if he hadn't forsaken the eastern trading routes, then Little Alamigo would be thriving.
Yeah. And this is because, so Lolorito, when he like called out the Sultana on her previous stance regarding Alamigo, and he's like, you refused the refugees, and now they're all just camped out in Little Alamigo, insinuating that her decision back then has resulted in these like really awful conditions at Little Alamigo. Like, this is your fault. And Teleji, after the fact, is like, well, if like, Lolorito absolutely had something to do with that as well, because he totally abandoned that entire area of the country, and things could be completely different if he had, hadn't been a dick.
Or so we say. It's maybe not. We don't know for sure. We don't know at this time if this is like a political move on Lolorito's part, or maybe this just did not make sense.
Maybe he's just trying to ingratiate himself for some reason. Yeah. Whatever.
So
okay.
Anyway,
we'll
this is the statement made. So we leave the Hall in defeat, and Raban invites us back to the Hall of Flames to figure out what to do. So we hop over there and convene again. Nobody thinks the naysayers are going to budge anytime soon, and Ul'dah is not an option for the Domans. Alphino thinks that Gridania and Limsa will be no's also, with their own respective issues. So, if only, he contemplates,
this is so funny,
there were some place not bound by the concerns of great nations, some more independent.
God, where the fuck?
This reminds me of a past conversation not too long ago. Oh yeah, Revenant's Toll.
Oh, the exact reason why the Scions moved there.
So he steps away to talk this through with Minfilia and reports back. He offers to bring the Domans to Mordona, and they can work to establish the Revenant's Toll outpost.
Like, sweet. Yeah.
It'll be hard work with nothing but food and shelter as payment. But Yugiri says yes, and she thanks Alphino, but Alphino says, don't thank me yet. It's not going to be easy.
Now we have to deal with the logistics. How are we going to transport all of these people? Not all of them in their condition to travel.
Now we hop over to the Adventurers Guild, the Quicksand. We are saying now that because the Domans will have to travel to Revenant's Toll on foot, and they've been cooped up in their vessel for so long, many are not well enough to travel.
And then this is logistics. It's also expense. Who's going to pay for this? How are we going to arrange all this stuff? Like, this is, we have a place for them to go, but to get them there, how do we do this? So those who are strong enough to travel, we'll go ahead and transport them right away. And while the others are like recuperating, getting their strength back, they will be hosted by the quicksand until they're healthy enough to make the journey. So now that we've figured that out, how are we going to do that? The Flames can't afford to do any of this. They can't. They can
afford it, but the syndicate will not let them.
Correct.
Spend money on this.
They can't devote anything. Yeah. So their hands are tied.
But our new best friend Teleji Adeleji says, "Hey, where government fails, private citizens can help.
I'll pay for it."
He says he's going to engage the 77 caravans to assist with this. There is very little information that I found on this group. But from what I can gather, this is an association of independent merchants, probably like a cooperative of some sort to pool resources for logistics and security.
Cool.
Teleji wishes Yugiri well and says that she always has a friend in Ul'dah.
It's a bit much.
He's just so great, Jen.
He's just,
He's a real great guy.
Just everything is peachy keen. Love it. Here's all the money. Here's all the stuff. I'm immediately a friend. I'm so sorry for your situation. Everybody else in the syndicate is a butt.
Yeah.
I'm a non-butt. I'm amazing. It's weird.
So now we disperse.
Yeah.
And Alfino speaks to us directly, asking us to personally assist with escorting the Domans to which, of course, we say yes.
Yeah, we'll Warrior of Light it up.
And that's where we leave off this time. What do you think?
Well, like I said, this storyline happened so much faster than I remembered. But like you said, they did cut out a lot of the bloat in post 2.0. So that's probably why I'm like, oh shit. Because when I opened up the fucking, which one was it? A Final Temptation, was it? Oh no, it was Still Waters. Yeah. So the little image for when you go to accept the quest, there's like a little like spoiler picture. And it was like Yugiri in her outfit. I'm like, oh shit, that's happening now? Goddamn.
Well, I will say that this feels like the actual first piece of good writing in the post-patch content. 2.1 was frankly kind of shit. With the whole Philomene long lost mother found in 2 seconds.
It was very unbelievable.
The Revenant's Toll instant transport. I know part of that was because they cut out the fetch quests, but also I don't think the fetch quests were good content personally.
Oh, well, no.
So I think in general, the whole move was very rushed. And the Elidibus stuff is weird. I don't like it because he shows up out of nowhere and he's like, I'm the coolest guy.
It's just to remind us that the Ashians are still around doing their bullshit. And then I guess really the only thing we learned, or didn't learn, the only thing that was established in the 2.1 shit was that Flamine and Alfino, we kind of got a deeper understanding of who they are as people.
Yeah, that patch does work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying nothing happens there. I'm just saying that it wasn't a very good story in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just kind of like we got to do these things.
Yeah, it's just checkbox. Okay, Philomene back on track.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Revenant's Toll. Yes. We met Elidibus. Yes. Okay.
All
patch
right,
over.
moving on. Okay.
But now, though, it actually slows down a bit, and we're experiencing these people now in quote real time. Where we meet Yugiri.
These are real issues. Like, we can sink our teeth into this.
And we're actually doing the steps here as well. It's not like, go run around and pick up 10 pieces of food out of the trash and give them to the Domans or whatever.
No, like we're having conversations.
Yeah.
We're figuring out how to, like, these are like, this all makes sense. We can connect to this.
The writing here and the presentation has improved substantially over the 2.1.
Yes. Like, now we've got some skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, Jen?
I wish Yugiri she didn't wear purple. I don't know.
Jen hates purple.
I kind of hate purple.
I like purple, Jen. It's a good color.
It's fine.
Oh my
it's
God.
fine. I don't know. It's just it has connotations. I don't know. It's just
what
so much
connotations?
of it. She's covered head to toe in purple.
Well, that's partially because of her mysterious hood and get up.
It's like, no, it's her color. That's like her. It's her thing. We can't use red or blue because that's Alfino and Alize already.
Oh my God, they don't have monopolies on red or blue.
I know. Anyway, So, exciting times.
Yeah. Well, with that, next time we'll be playing through the main story quest, Gift of Eternity.
And that will do it for today's episode. As always, we appreciate you guys listening so much. Thank you for being there and being cool. If you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. You can check the show notes for our Discord. You can join the Discord and share screenshots, glams, join runs, organize runs, all that good stuff. And we also have our Patreon, which is patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to bonus episodes. We release them once or twice a month. Check it out. That said, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.